Welcome to Quick Summary and Review. This time we have a new mini box, Destroyer of the Phantasm. Let's have a look at what cards are inside. First is the Sacred Beast archetype, which is technically not an archetype. It's any card that mentions the name Raviel, Uria, or Hamon. But basically this quote-unquote archetype got a new skill, which basically makes him a lot more consistent and resilient to disruption, because it basically lets him cheat out any Sacred Beast from your deck directly if your opponent has a monster in their field or graveyard. And basically, the main strength of this deck is that it has a lot of big guys that are unaffected by target effects, and also you can draw 2 every single turn. So this is pretty much like a back row deck, and I don't know if that's gonna be good enough. It should be decent, because, you know, having a big guy that lets you draw 2 every turn is quite good, but none of the boss monsters actually have any quick effects, so you're entirely relying on the fact that you're gonna have a big unaffected guy with a bunch of back row. And next up is Unchained, which actually got a lot of new stuff, but unfortunately not the actual good stuff that we got in the TCG not too long ago. So Unchained is pretty much a fiend deck that is based around popping your own cards, including your monsters, and also spells and traps. Basically, the spells and traps all have effects when they are popped to special summon a Unchained monster from your deck, and you can link climb into the link monsters that can link summon using your opponent's monsters as part of the link material. But unfortunately, we do not have a skill for this deck, so we all are also missing a lot of the new stuff that makes this deck good. So currently this deck is pretty meh. I think the only thing that we'll see play is probably going to be the Link 4, because it is a generic Fiend Link that you can play in Live Twins, so maybe. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Next up is Fluffle, or Edgimp, or Frightfur. Okay, so this deck is probably going to be the most promising out of all the decks in this box, because we not only get actually good boss monsters in the form of the Cruel Whale to pop stuff, and also Scythe to fusion summon in your opponent's turn to actually make the whale to pop your opponent's stuff. We also get a really good skill. A good skill that both boosts the consistency by searching any edge imp, and also gives you a unrespondable way to remove your opponent's monsters, because it basically says if you have a Frightfur Bear, you can just steal one of your opponent's monsters and equip it to your monster as an equip card, and that cannot be responded because skills are broken. And the best thing is we got Patchwork, which is the ultra rare card you see on screen right now. It is limited to 3 on release, and it's one hell of a card. This is a double search with no downsides. You can activate this card, no cost, just add a poly and any edge imp from your deck to your hand. Insane card. So my predictions is that this deck is probably going to be at least tier 3, might even be higher depending on if people find a way to actually make this deck work and be better than like any of the other meta decks currently right now, but it is promising. And yep, these are just duplicate archetypes from the other ones. And finally we have Ancient Gear, which is not very good. Some of them are reprints. Actually, most of them are reprints. Ancient Gear Wyvern used to be a structure deck exclusive card, which means you have to pay to get free copies, but now you no longer have to do that, which is nice. And the big thing from this box is going to be Chaos Ancient Gear Giant, which is not very good, but you can make it using the new Performage skill, which for whatever reason makes your Performage Ancient Gear monsters and lets you fusion summon using them to make Chaos Ancient Gear Giant. It's not very good. I mean, you're probably gonna still use the skill, the Performage skill that is already in the game. That skill is probably gonna be better overall, but it is an option that you can make this random fusion monster in a totally unrelated archetype, and I guess that's nice. Anyway, let's have a look at the recommended card amounts for each individual super rares and ultra rares. First is the the better version of Raviel. I actually am kind of confused on how the skill actually works, because from the leaks of the skill it says you can reveal a sacred beast, and I don't know if this counts as a sacred beast because it is technically not one of the 3 sacred beasts, but it is like one of the evolved version of it, so it kind of depends on how the skill works with this card. But assuming that the skill doesn't treat this as a sacred beast, then you probably just play 1 copy because it's really searchable. But if it does count, and you can reveal it to search any of your other archetype support, then you might need more copies of this card just so you could have more consistent access to your other cards, but we'll see. For now, just get 1 copy. A-Bomb Prison is really good. It's your main searcher for Unchained. Frightful Patchwork is also really good as a searcher for Fluffles. For the super rares, we have 3 Unchained Twins. Both of them are probably required at 3 copies if you want to play the deck. 1 A-Bomb, because it's a Link 4 that you probably will only need to summon once anyway. This card is just not very good, and this card is situationally useful, I guess, in some level 7 decks, but for now, no decks really can make good use of this card, and also it's harder once per turn, so it's not like you can use it in some kind of janky FTK deck anyway, so yeah. A Buster Blader has a new Link monster, so if you're gonna play that, you might want 1 of the new Link. And the super rare search spell is really good. It can search any of your Sacred Beast support, so you play 3 copies. Cruel Well is really good boss monster, you need 1 copy. Scythe is searchable with your skill and also some of your archetype support like Patchwork, so 1 is probably enough. You might want to play more so you have consistent access to it in your opening hand when you go second, so you can quick fusion if even if your opponent goes first, so maybe you want more copies, but we'll see. We'll see what the optimal deck ratios are. And finally, 1 copy of Chaos Ancient Gear Giant if you're playing Ancient Gears or if you're playing Performages. So that's basically it. I think this deck is okay. I mean, this box is okay. I do not recommend this box if you haven't already have some of the other stuff for example, Sacred Beast or Fluffle, because these 2 archetypes do require you to have the other supports. You can get them from the pickup box, but I do not recommend just going for them if you don't already have some amounts of copies of either one of them. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.